Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm in the studio. We are live, so get involved in the chat and the comments and let us know what you think about all the latest Manchester United news. We're going to be talking about Ruben Amorim. He's got his coaching staff in at Carrington. Also, we'll be getting into the sort of the situation he finds himself in, because it's a bit of a weird one in the sense that he is at United. He has taken over, but apparently he's restricted in what he can do due to the work permit situation. So we'll get into all that. It seems a bit of a farce, doesn't it, that we paid an extra €1 million to get him in early and he can't just fully take over yet. So we'll be getting into all that. Plus there'll be a bit of reaction to Ruud Van Nistelrooy leaving the club. So make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel if you're not doing already, and hit that like button, please, people. Right, first of all, in fact, let's go into some of the comments. Good to see David Gray, Akash K, Scott O'Neill, Richard Evans, Stephanie Griffiths, Colin Coupleditch, loads of others as well. Thank you for your support. Let's talk about Ruben Amorim then, because he's getting his new staff in. You can see there, this is from the Mirror. This is from their live blog. It says Van Nistelrooy leaves the club. New boss pictured amid dressing room concern. We might have a little bit more on that if we can... It says here, Ruben Amorim is officially Manchester United's new manager, but won't be having Ruud Van Nistelrooy by his side. The Portuguese boss began work on Monday and has been pictured arriving in the city. Amorim is yet to receive his work permit ahead of taking training at Carrington. A number of the squad are away on international duty, with his first match not until November the 24th. We're going to get into the Ruud bit a little bit later on. First of all, I just want to talk about his coaching staff. So you can see here, it says the new United coach, who was hidden from cameras as he was driven out of the airport, was due to speak with Ruud Van Nistelrooy on Monday. Yeah, we know all that. It says joining Amorim at the Red Devils will be 5 key staff from Sporting Lisbon. Assistant manager Carlos Fernandez, assistant coaches Adelio Candido and Emmanuel Ferro, goalkeeper coach George Vital, and sports scientist Paulo Barrera. So it's a whole new sort of coaching setup. I think I'm right in saying that I think Rennie Hake and Ruud Van Nistelrooy have left. We'll double check that. I think he's getting the nod there from producer Ben. So it's definitely a bit of a change. There's been a lot of changes at Manchester United when it comes to coaching and just the setup in general over the last sort of 6 or 7 months. We know Benny McCarthy left, Steve McLaren left. We brought in the likes of Dan Ashworth. Omar Barada came in. Obviously, this is above the coaches. Who am I missing? Jason Wilcox came in back end of last season. Then we had Rennie Hake came in, Ruud Van Nistelrooy came in. Then the manager left. Now we've got a new manager. Now Ruud Van Nistelrooy's left. Now the new coaches are coming. So there's been a massive overhaul when you look at Manchester United, not just in terms of the manager, but also the coaches, the people above the manager. It's almost like everything has changed within the last sort of 6 or 7 months towards the back end of last season. I've never really known anything like this, to be honest with you. It's pretty amazing, because even when we've had a change of manager in the past, we've had some of the coaches that have stayed, or we've had the hierarchy above the manager that stayed. Ed Woodward was there for a long time, wasn't he? When we had the likes of David Moyes, of Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we still had Woodward. Then it became Richard Arnold. But John Murtough was there, I think, from David Moyes right up until the end of last season. So he was a constant. Plus you had some of the coaching staff that were there for quite a long time. However, now there has been this big change. I think you've still got some of the old guard there. You've got Darren Fletcher, I think, still there. Just a bit of info on the new coaches. Carlos Fernandez, 29 years old. Jesus wept. He's young enough to be me grandson. Says the 29-year-old is expected to join as Amorim's assistant manager. This is an old quote, but it gives you a bit of context of what you can expect. It's this was from February 2022. Amorim explains, my number 2 is Carlos Fernandez. He's been my right-hand man right from day one. He'll be a much better coach than me. I often say if I become Bobby Robson, then he'll be my Jose Mourinho, but there's plenty of time. We've signed a 15-year deal. I mean, that was a bit ambitious, wasn't it, for Sporting to sign on a 15-year deal, but that's probably part of the reason they got a big payout. The pair met at Benfica when Amorim was still a player. Fernandez has been assisting Amorim ever since the new United had coach gave him, I think it should be United coach, gave him a coaching role in his first managerial job with Portuguese side Casa Pia. Adelio Candido, which is a fantastic name. He was a youth coach at the Casa Pia Academy when Amorim and Fernandez became manager and assistant manager of the lower league Portuguese club in 2018. So they've known each other for a little while. Followed him to Braga and then to Sporting. So it seems like he's got quite a sort of tight-knit group that he knows. You've also got Emmanuel Ferro. Lisbon-born Ferro has worked for two of Portugal's biggest clubs, starting his coaching career, not with Sporting, but as an academy coach with Benfica at the turn of the millennium. So he's been around for a little while longer than these guys. He's been in Malaysia and Tunisia and then come back to Portugal to coach in the Sporting youth setup and has been there ever since. At age 45, he now joins Amorim, Fernandes and Candino through the door at United. It's good to see that someone is older than me, only just. George Vitalo, he's someone who's older than me. The 63-year-old, he's going to be the goalkeeping coach. We don't need all the background on him. We know he's obviously been around for a little while. And you've got Paulo Barrera, sports scientist. Oh, I don't like this. An ex-Liverpool physio. You can get rid of him straight away. Who was also a PhD student at Liverpool's John Moores University. Barrera joins United as a sports scientist. To me, it makes sense having your own team. I get that some people will be like, but all these people, they don't know United, they're all dead young. But I feel as a manager coming in, if this is the coaching setup you've had that has been successful for you elsewhere, then I get why you'd want to continue it. Now, some people might look at it and go, and I've done this myself, spoken about David Moyes when he brought in the likes of Steve Round and Jimmy Lumsden, which was a disaster. It was a difference there, though. He was coming into a hugely successful setup and side. He was coming into a team and a club that had just won its 20th Premier League title, its 13th Premier League title. The setup at Manchester United was fine in terms of the coaches. You had Rennie Millenstein, you had Mike Phelan, you had one or two others. David Moyes came in and he sort of threw the baby out with the bathwater. He just went and changed everything. Plus you had David Gill leaving and Ed Woodward coming in. It was too much. It was too much change, and some of these people were out of their depth and they weren't helped by a manager and a executive vice chairman who were also out of their depth as well. So this makes a little bit more sense than that. Let me know in the chat and the comments. Let me know. Sorry, I'm just looking at some of the comments there. Let me know what you think about this. Akash K says, Jay, did you see how swanky that Carrington canteen was, by the way? Shears Maxwell says, good evening from Melbourne, Jay. There was a comment, I think with Bucko, for one of the first comments, says, love you boys from Melbourne. Eccles, you've downgraded there, bro, moving from Eccles to Melbourne. Never mind, hopefully one day you can come back. Jed's dead, baby. Says, top 4 by January the 3rd. There you go, he's called it. Good to see other people in the chat as well. Hit that like button, please, people. Over 800 people watching. We haven't even got to 100 likes. Let's get to 200 likes. Black Simba says, most famous bald man still in Manchester. How do you feel, Jay? Yes, Baldy's best, and I'm still here. Should we talk about what Ruben Amorim is allowed to do then? Because this is a bit of a bizarre twist, isn't it? This is a tweet from Stretford Paddock. We're always on it. Says, Ruben Amorim is allowed on site at Carrington and will be meeting Darren Fletcher today. Well, that's a relief that he's allowed on site. Be a bit disconcerting if he wasn't even allowed to do that. He could also meet some of the injured players today who are completing their rehabilitation. The other players, not on international duty, have a day off today. So he can do a bit of meet and greet. He can get to know a few of the people, say hello to them. I think he's still a little bit restricted in terms of training stuff, but no one's training anyway because it's the international break. So hopefully the whole work permit thing can get resolved sooner rather than later. We don't want it to become a thing, become an issue where he wants to take training, all the players are there and he can't. Hopefully United can sort it out. It's just a bit daft in it that we've paid the 10 million euros buyout clause to get him, paid 1 million euros extra to get him at the beginning of the international break rather than him seeing out his 30-day notice period, and he still can't take training. So hopefully, I don't want to get carried away and start doing outrage for outrage's sake when we don't even know what's going on. Ruud Van Nistelrooy left. We've got a statement here, I think, from the club. We know it's sad to see him go. Did a very good job as caretaker. Was it 3 wins and a draw, which for United this season is unbelievable form. It says United can confirm that Ruud Van Nistelrooy has left the club. Ruud rejoined in the summer and has taken charge of the team for the past 4 matches as interim, I said caretaker, it's interim head coach. Ruud is and always will be a Manchester United legend. Very true. We are grateful for his contribution and the way in which he has approached his role throughout his time with the club. He will always be very welcome at Old Trafford, rightly so. René Hacker, Jelly, Ton, Ten, Rua, La and Peter Morel have also departed, and we wish them all well for the future. We will confirm the full men's first team coaching composition in due course. There's a sentence you don't hear every day. So yeah, big changes at Manchester United. Ruud Van Nistelrooy did a very good job. I kind of think it was like the perfect interim stint. I almost feel like during that match with Chelsea made it a little bit more perfect, because I think if he'd have won them all, I'm not saying I didn't want us to win. I'm just saying if he'd won all those games, people are going, shouldn't have got rid of Ruud, you know. He was the guy. I mean, some people might be saying that anyway. But the fact that the Chelsea game wasn't great, you think, okay, there's still issues there. Plus, you can't ignore the fact he was part of Erik ten Hag's coaching setup only briefly. I mean, it feels like we might need a bit of a change, something new. I know people go, well, we tried it with Ole, a club legend, that didn't work. I don't think you can just say, once we've tried it with a club legend, we can't use another club legend. That's nonsensical. It's like people say, well, we tried it with a young up-and-coming successful manager in Erik ten Hag. We can't do it again with Ruben Amorim. It's nonsense. They're not the same, are they? So we wish Ruud Van Nistelrooy well. Arguably the best striker we've ever had at the club, if not, you know, certainly in the Premier League area in terms of his finishing. His goal ratio is ridiculous. I think I saw him on the list the other day when it was like, how many games did it take when Erling Haaland to get to 75 goals. I think Ruud's right up there in terms of the quickness he did it in. You know, he was just scoring goals almost every week, and he held the record, didn't he, for the most consecutive games in goals, I think, or goals in games, I should say, until Jamie Vardy broke it, unfortunately, against Manchester United. So, absolute legend as a player, done very well as a coach, and as a interim manager. We don't really know what he did as a coach, do we? He was just part of that team that setup that wasn't that successful. But I like the way he carried himself. He said the right things. He looked amazing, didn't he? He looked very suave. Some people aren't happy that he's going. Rio Ferdinand said, I think this is from Stretford News. He said that, you can see that he's gone. And I think if we scroll down, we might have a quote. We got a quote from Rio. Keep going. There you go. Speaking on his Rio Ferdinand Presents podcast, the former centre-back said his audition couldn't have gone any better, and I think, well, it could have. He could have won all four. And I think, knowing him, there was a steely determination underneath that said, I'm going to put myself in the best position either to stay at the club in some capacity, or someone else is going to say, we need you as a manager. He looked the part and he produced. I think is there a bit more to that? The players needed that. We're in a time where there was a lot of turbulence. The manager's relationships with some of the players seemed fractured and irreversible, and the fans seem to have made their minds up. That was it. And the new manager comes in and you always get that bounce, but this seemed a bit different from a bounce. I think there's some more as well. The players had grown to really like him. They appreciated how he informed them of different bits and pieces, tactically, individually, as a team, and there was a genuine, we want to do well for this guy. I think Rio was sort of saying he would have liked to have seen Ruud Van Nistelrooy stay on. I get it. Had Ruud stayed on, I would have had an issue with that. I said it yesterday in my news. I thought it would have been nice to see him stay on. Also, you know, there's that sort of experience there and stuff. But I understand why a new manager wants to do his own thing, or a new head coach. And I think you have to support him in that endeavour. And hopefully we'll see Ruud Van Nistelrooy do well, because we will wish him well, and Ruben Amorim do even better at Manchester United. Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat. Michael Alton says Ruud should go get that sporting job. A lot of people not happy with what Rio's saying. People saying he needs to pipe down, basically. Lisa Chimes says excited for Ruben to start. Me too. Andrew says, I'm not holding my breath with Amorim. Too many came and left quickly. We'll have to wait and see. You see, I get that. I'm cautiously optimistic. I've been here before where I've got all giddy and carried away. I was adamant we were going to win the title when Jose Mourinho was appointed. I was like, we are going to win a title under him. He won't stay for long, but he'll deliver a title, and obviously he didn't. So I've been here before. I thought Erik ten Hag was the right man for the job. I preferred him out of the other candidates to an offer, and I do think Ruben Amorim is the right guy. But, like I said, we've been here before. Should we talk about some nonsense that ain't going to happen? Right, I think, where's this from? Court offside is saying this, no, not to disparage their journalistic integrity, but I don't believe it. It says Manchester United could reportedly already be set to offload Joshua Zirkzee under new manager Ruben Amorim, according to reports in Italy. Bro, he's been in the job for a day, less than a day. Like, shut up. He's not. I've been in the job for 3 hours. We're getting rid of that player we bought in the summer. I've seen enough, but he's not even in training. I watched the video the other day. He's not good enough to get rid. I just don't believe this. Calcium Mercato, take everything they say with a massive pinch of salt. They're already questioning Zirkzee's future. He only arrived in the summer. Listen, I get that Zirkzee hasn't had the easiest or best start. I understand that. I understand why some people looking at him going, is he quite ready? Is he ready for the Premier League? Is he good enough? Is he physically where he should be? There's reports that maybe he's put on a bit of timber or whatever. I get that, but it's so early. You cannot make a judgment on this player. And we've seen glimpses. It's not like he's completely useless. You can see there's a player there. Is he good enough for Manchester United in the Premier League and where we want to get to? I don't know. The jury's out. It's just far too early to say he's done. And it's certainly far too early to get rid of him. I'd be very, very surprised if he left in January. Don't get me wrong, it's possible. I just don't see it happening. Let me know what you think. Ernest Tisotsi says, hasn't even met the players. Come on. Aran Siri says, Zirkzee equals 45-year-old. Canu. Desert Storm says, we got to give you guys, or give guys more than 11 games. Is that what he's had? 11 games. There you go. Harry Potter says, does he fit Amorim's style? We'll have to wait and see. Desert Storm also says, people were way more patient with Hoyland. And El says, athletically, Zirkzee doesn't look like he will ever be the right standard, but who knows? See, I don't mind. Right, this sounds really stupid and weird, but bear with me. If a player looks like he's put on weight and that's the issue, that's almost a relief, because that's something you can fix. It can lose weight. If that's what the problem is, if you think I'm not saying he has, but if that's the issue, he's carrying too much weight, lose some weight and he'll be better. If he's just not good enough, no amount of losing weight or putting on weight is going to fix that, is it? And I think Zirkzee, there is a player there. Whether he's good enough for United remains to be seen. You can see he's got a good touch. You can see some of his link-up play is very good. He obviously got a goal against Fulham. Other than that, he has struggled in front of goal. Let's not pretend he hasn't, and some of his finishing hasn't been good enough. But we will wait and see. We'll wait and see. He obviously did well at Bologna last season. He wasn't prolific, but he was their top scorer and helped them get into the Champions League. If he can do something similar for us, help us get into the Champions League, all will be, not forgiven, but all will be happy. Ashmeet Singh, who's been a member of the Academy for 47 months. Come on. Put some respect on his name. Low expectations from Amorim this season. Just make us not look like a joke. Well, that would be an improvement, wouldn't it? Considering we've been a bit of a joke at times over the last year. And I'm not being silly, but come on. Getting beat 3-0 at home to Bournemouth. Bottom of that Champions League group. Come on. Hey, Fulham at home. Who else? Brighton at home. I don't need to go on. You know the dance. Let's talk about Erik ten Hag. Let's talk about Roma wanting Erik ten Hag. We've got a story here. Because I think Erik ten Hag is going to get another job quite easily. It says here, Roma are still looking for a new manager that could lead them at least until the end of the season. There's a bit more to this. Yeah, as reported by Il Messaggero, all options are on the table, with the American owners also keeping a close eye on the market for foreign coaches. The latest name to be added to the mix is that of Erik ten Hag, former United boss, who was recently dismissed from Old Trafford. Together with Graham Potter, ex-Brighton and Chelsea boss, ten Hag is currently being looked at as one of the options for Roma's bench, writes the newspaper. I think Erik ten Hag will still get a job, a decent job. And Roma, around that sort of level-ish, might work, because he has had success. And he often reminds us, look at his trophy haul. Is it 7 trophies in 4 years, whatever it is? 2 trophies at Manchester United can't be ignored. Yes, the league form wasn't good enough. I'm not defending that. But I still think there's enough there. He's still a relatively young coach, where people look what he did at Ajax, look at the fact that he did finish 3rd and win a trophy in his first season at United, and even in his second trophy managed to deliver managed to deliver the FA Cup. I think he could still get a decent job. I do. I don't think he's wrecked his career at Manchester United. Some managers come at United, and like David Moyes, he had a bit of a stinker where it was like he needed almost a bit of rehabilitation, didn't he? Did he go to Sociedad after us? Ralph Rangnick went straight into the Austrian job. It's like no one really cared what he did at United. He was highly regarded anyway. Ollie, it feels like to me it's been Ollie's choice rather than clubs don't want him. I think Ollie has been linked with some clubs. I just don't think he's wanted to just go for the first job that he was offered. I think for him, leaving United hurt him more than it hurt any other manager. Jose took a step down and went to Spurs and has really never recovered from what happened at United. When he was at United, or when he left, he was one of the top coaches in the world. And then he goes to Spurs. Then he goes to Roma. Then he goes to Fenerbahce. So he's not really been a upward trajectory, has it, for Jose Mourinho? It's been a downward one. So we'll wait and see. There's one story I want to talk about. Antony. I saw this doing the rounds. There you go. Quite emphatic. Antony wants to leave Manchester United. All right, okay. Antony's reportedly unhappy with his game time. You can see it here. This is from Centre Devils. His limited game time. The crux of this story is he wants to have chats with the club about his future. He wants to talk to the club about his future. He's not happy. He's barely played, has he, Antony, this season? Did he start against Barnsley? Came on against Brighton, I want to say, and came on against Fenerbahce and got injured. You can see there his overall record. He's had 82 games for us and 11 goals and 5 assists, whereas Ajax, he had 82 appearances, so it's the same, 24 goals and 22 assists. So much better numbers at Ajax. His numbers in his last season at Ajax weren't amazing, to be honest with you. I think it was 8 goals and 4 assists or something. They were all right. Nothing mental. He hit the ground running, didn't he? He got some goals early doors. He struggled, and he had a mad spell in his first season, midway through his Spurs season. Spurs on the brain. First season where he stopped scoring and assisting. Then he picked up a little bit towards the end of the season. Last season wasn't great. I know people think I've got a thing about Antony because, you know, I just don't really rate the kid. I want to see every player in a Manchester United shirt do well. I'd love to see him turn it around. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't think it will. There's talk that maybe he could become that wing back in a Ruben Amorim system. Maybe he could. I don't know. Joe Smith's been talking about this quite a lot. He kind of looks like he's got the tools to do it. At Ajax, he was very good defensively as well. And he does track back, Antony, to be fair. He does get stuck in. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. He didn't like the idea of tracking back and being a defensive player when he was asked to do it against Liverpool and Arsenal, was it? Arsenal was the one where I sort of lost time for him when he was moaning to Gabriel Jesus. But we'll see. An interesting one. Paul Gill says, morning, Jay. Dan Yates says, morning, Jay. Heading to the gym here in the USA. Finally caught the news live. Well done. Right. We're going to leave it there. Thank you to everyone who got involved in the chat and the comments. Santa Notch, good to see you in there as well. Maurice Marshall as well. We've got an interview coming up later on today. Nathan Soul, who's the Manchester United correspondent for the Daily Mail, a good journalist. We spoke to him when he was in Lisbon. He was there for the sporting game against, was it Nacional? I forget who it was against, but we spoke to him via Zoom. He's coming into the studio. He's going to have a chat with Joe Smith, so that'll be out later on today. Make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. Make sure you're following us on all your socials as well. We'll have any updates if we get them on work permits, on coaches, all that stuff. So I've been Jay Motti. This has been The Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.